My break times 8 grandfather is George II. Like honey in Waitrose, or indeed British sherry, I'm the produce of more than one country. Russian, Lithuanian, Napoleon, Hitler, Germans, French, English, loads of English, not much Scottish or Welsh as far as I know. Wales, England. I mean, Wales, Britain.
Wales, Britain. Britain, I think you want to be very careful.
Wales, Britain, yeah.
All
our ancestors are posh, country, French, tough type characters. My mother's very Jewish guys. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And then finally, my grandfather's father, who is a country. Very important documents here. My brothers and sisters and I grew up as children. King George II, Great Britain and Ireland. He is my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
8 times, yes.
In order to have a single political culture, you need to have a single person to whom people will all pay respect.
And over the next few months, I will be working with them on crunching the numbers and building the policies so that by the time the next election comes, by the time the election, well, not the next election, we never know when that will come, by the time the election for London Mayor comes, we will have...
I had a great time riding the Boris bike today.
You enjoyed the Boris bike?
I went everywhere I go around the world. I always ride for an hour to 2 hours a bike.
Have you ever wrestled someone on a cable car?
No, not on the cable car.
Okay, we're going to go, please, let's re-wrap it. Okay, here we are.
One man,
looking good.
the Mayor of London.
No, she goes to his rescue.
Yes.
No, she goes to his rescue.
She goes to his rescue and holds onto his stick, and they both end up
Team GB. It's going well, very, very well organised. What they do, get me a ladder. Going well,
They're very banks are profit should be given back to society then. Or bicycles for your scheme, that sort of thing?
If you approve of the banks giving money for bicycles.
What I'm getting at is how many bicycles?
Well, we've already got 6,000, so, you know.
6,000 bicycles.
So 6,000 bikes would discharge Barclays' obligations to society, would it?
Of course that's right. What I'm saying is, by shrinking financial services or attacking bankers, I don't think that you're necessarily going to boost other parts of the UK economy. And that is
I'm
true.
just wondering why you're sort of acting as their glove puppet.
I'm not.
Well, there's no evidence.
I think they should.
There's no evidence. You don't know how much of their money they spend on public projects. I mean, where?
Well,
why are you such an advocate?
I'm not a bank. I'm not.
No, you're their spokesman.
In these tough times, when we hear so many criticisms of bankers, can I thank NatWest? Nat West. Well done, NatWest, for stumping up for all this. Stumping up's the right word. Well done, NatWest. And I don't know about I congratulate NatWest and bankers in general.
How can cutting fire stations, cutting fire engines, cutting firefighters' posts not be a reduction in fire cover?
Because we're improving fire cover, as I've said several times. It's not about...
You lied to the people of London in your
election. Get stuffed. How can I help?
I was wondering if you could keep our fire station open.
The 9-year-old girl would like her fire station.
Well, I understand, and you can't have a more sort of heartbreaking plea than that, can you? But we've got to look at the steps we can take that will continue to make London safer from fire, and to do that with it. Well, I think she should be.
A lumbering machine that moves at a snail's pace and actually, if used at full force, is actually emptied within 5 minutes. This is not the tool to catch, break a wall.
No, they are when
Why this isn't the thin edge of the wedge between crossing that line of policing by consent and policing by fear.
Dispatches has been investigating how Britain's pro-Israel lobby exercises its influence and financial muscle today in Westminster, and how critics of Israel's foreign policy in the press get branded as anti-Semitic.
But what about the BBC? On the record, BBC executives tell us they've always reported Israel and Palestine without bias. Off the record, former executives and programme makers have told us they've always been aware of pressure from top management over Middle East coverage.
There's people who are very strongly supporting Israel, yes, and the Conservative Friends of Israel, the Labour Friends of Israel are all part of that.
Yes, there is a pro-Israeli lobby, and it's active in trying to define the debate in order to limit the options that British politicians can choose to options which would be acceptable to that lobby.
So how does the lobby work? Money plays a big part. Millions of pounds in donations from businessmen and others into the bank accounts of politicians and political parties. The Conservative Friends of Israel is one of Westminster's most active lobbying groups. It claims as its members 80% of all Conservative members of Parliament.
On the 15th of April, the Conservative Friends of Israel took the Tory mayoral candidate Boris Johnson on a tour of North London, campaigning, meeting locals and visiting businesses. He told hundreds of people that came out to see him why he's the best choice for mayor.
And there are no circumstances under which you would allow your name to go forward to become an MP while you are mayor of London.
No, that would be wrong. As I said,
why didn't you say, no, I couldn't? I couldn't do both.
Well, I did do both, by the way, for a while. Hysterical.
You could end it all just by saying what you know to be true.
What, that I don't want to?
That you want to be Prime Minister.
Look, what I want is to...
would you like to be Prime Minister?
I think it's a very tough job being Prime Minister. Very tough job. I mean, obviously, if the ball came loose from the back of a scrum, which it won't,
might.
Or of course, it'd be a great thing to have a crack at.
You said you would think about the Prime Ministership if the ball came loose from the scrum. Are you still bound in the scrum?
The ball. Shall I tell you where the ball is now?
Yeah, do.
Okay.
And tell us what position you're playing.
I'm somewhere in the. It's somewhere in the front, forwards. The ball's at our feet. We're going for a pushover try.
Why couldn't you think about being Prime Minister? You could if you wanted to.
Well, I suppose I could. I mean, as you've already pointed out, I could be President of the United States.
Yeah, well, I guess.
There's no, technically speaking.
Would you like to be Prime Minister?
Well, I would like to be the lead singer of an international rock group. I mean, that was my aim. Or guitarist. I would love to have been a world-famous painter or indeed a composer. Well, maybe Three Little Birds. Three Little Birds. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you watch your documentary last night, Mr. Mann?
Smile at the rising sun. Three little birds on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, a melody pure and true, singing, this is my message for you. Don't you worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. That's what I want.
Very good. You could have been a pop star.
When we see senior banking figures
perhaps in charge of banks owned by the taxpayer, receiving millions and millions of pounds in bonuses. What we should do is just sort of do a Boris. We should just sit there, let the steam come off our head, but live with it.
You're talking about a sort of resentment of the super rich.
Yes.
And,
yes.
There are many, many things that I would like to have done or to be able to do.
Would you like to be Prime Minister?
As I've said before, it might be that I wanted to have a career in writing romantic fiction, for instance.
That is
under the
that is possible, I suppose.
Why not? Rosie, or Rosie M. Banks or some such pseudonym.
I was trying to think of a way of bringing in my book.
What's your book called, Bob?
Well, since you mention it, here it is.
Can I have a look at it?
You can have a copy.
No, I didn't want a copy. I just want to have a look.
Very big print,
right.
isn't it?
It's tremendous.
Can I just say, genuinely, I've turned to a page. It said, as soon as I see Bertha's rear end backing down towards me.
Never mind. You must listen. I don't want you to spoil it. I don't want you to spoil it.
This has been my first time in Sicily.
I don't want you to spoil it.
I wasn't used to the local alcohol.
The audience will want to find out about Bertha in their own good time, and I don't think it would be right.
Advancing upon me are the towering bay buttocks of the biggest horse I've ever seen. In a daze, I mount the stool.
Okay.
I wish I was making this up.
Thank you so much.
Tell you what, it looks a bit classy on the outside. Nothing but rancorous porn inside.
Let's be talking.
Your friend Darius Guppy asks you to supply the address of a journalist so that he can have him physically assaulted. The words beaten up and broken ribs are said to him. And you, having heard that, you tell your friend Darius Guppy you will supply the address. What does that say about you, Boris Johnson?
Well,
aren't you, in fact, making up quotes, lying to your party leader, wanting to be part of someone being physically assaulted? You're a nasty piece of work, aren't you?
Well, I put the boot in. I don't know how much a pint of milk costs. No, so what?
Does it bother you that the Treasury clearly regards you as an eccentric irrelevance?
I'm not certain that's what the Treasury think. I think
if they didn't think that, they'd have acted on your advice, wouldn't they?
Well, if people can't make fun of politicians, what has gone wrong with
You're a dithering,
the BBC?
incoherent and self-interested idiot.
Do we need decking? Well, some people think I need decking.
I think it is perfectly legitimate for people to satirise politicians, and there you go. I think my chances of leading the Conservative Party are slightly less good than your chances.
That's enough.
My great ×8 grandfather is George II.
You are, in fact, related to all European royal houses there are. To the Romanovs, you're related to the Swedish royal family, the Dutch royal family, the Prussians, the Hohenzollerns, all of them.
But there's a kind of kink in the whole thing with the element of illegitimacy there.
Yes.
That's the unfortunate element
Yes,
there.
you are a genetic relative, but not in any legal or dynastic sense.
I think we'd have to. I think because the lawyers take a very dim view nowadays of people who discriminate against illegitimate children.
Well, I wish you luck.
No, it's a big issue.
And if you ever want to sublet any of this place, let me know.
There you go. How amazing.
£25 million for a fleet of how many buses?
No, for the buses, that's a different matter. And that's a different funding proposition.
How many?
Let me invite you
to. Let
me invite you to speculate how much.
No. I invite
mayors...
you to speculate. In fact, more than speculate. Tell us how much it would cost.
Let me tell you this: they would cost no more and no less than the mayor's own manifesto commitment to produce another 500 hybrid buses, which are going to ply the streets.
Which is what?
And which will be bought, of course, as the mayor knows full well, not by Transport London. They will be bought
Give us a figure.
By the bus.
Give us a figure.
And
Come
I think when you look at the prospect that this offers,
what is the figure?
Well, the average cost of a bendy bus is about £200,000. I envisage it being the cost over time being substantially amortised to be easily bearable under the Transport Budget Fund.
So am I not making myself clear? What we want to know is how much you propose to spend on this new fleet of route master buses.
No more,
a figure,
no less.
A figure.
the cost of the mail.
I despair.
You've got to get this on the air. Come on. This is the most important thing. Stuff Donovan is
He's bloody Tory.
I know. We've got to do something about them, don't we?
Machine gunners.
Well, I don't think that's a good idea, but we need to get them out. You're right. We definitely need to get them out. Take care.
whiff waff.